Launch events are a secret sales weapon that I get my clients to use in their launch strategy that have made them anywhere between $5,000 all the way up to $15,000 in sales. And I've never really done a deep dive on it, so let's talk about it in this episode. I'm really excited to finally talk about launch events because someone commented on one of my YouTube videos asking about launch events, and then I realized I never really talk about it, and it does garner a lot of sales for my clients. So I want to talk about this secret weapon because as a new fashion brand, if people have never tried your pieces before, it can sometimes be hard for someone to just buy something online from a new brand because you don't know the quality, you don't know the sizing, you don't know the fit, and it's so much easier to sell in person. And so that's why launch events do so well. And I will say this episode is going to be super helpful for you if you're currently about to launch a brand, but then also for anyone that has an established brand, this could be a good brush up and a reminder too, because I think every single time you launch a new product or a new collection, this can be something that you now add to your toolkit. So the strategy when it comes to launch events is as follows. For my clients, I always get them to do at least 2 events, if not 3, and it depends on their launch goals and like how many invites they need to send out. But at the bare minimum, you want to do 2. And then I always get my clients for the first event to make it a friends and family launch event. So invite your family members, invite your friends, maybe some like friends of friends. And the point of this launch event is for you to celebrate the fact that you're launching your brand, but also the fact that you're like launching these products or you have this new collection. Like celebrate with your loved ones. I think that is such a rewarding experience and you should definitely do that. But also this allows you to like work out the kinks, get the nerves out, and you just get used to selling, because the reality is at these launch events, you gotta sell. You gotta promote. And sometimes I know it can feel weird. And so we're gonna start with friendlies first. We're gonna start with your family members, start with your friends so that you can get used to it. And when it comes to this launch event, like for your friends and family, like it would be amazing if your ideal customer could be there too. Like if any of your friends are your ideal customers, or you can get your friends to like invite their friends that maybe fit that persona. But the first launch event really is for you to like celebrate, work out the kinks, and also like get all the nerves out. And then the second and the third launch events, those are more open for like the general public and for people that are your ideal customer. This is key. You want to make sure you get your ideal customer at these launch events. And how you're going to do that is by having some sort of activity that will draw them in. As an example, one of my clients recently started a brand for new moms. So she did a prenatal yoga event. Another example, one of my clients started a sustainable bridal brand. So she did a plan your wedding with this wedding planner expert event. Like you really want to think about who your ideal customer is, what they're going through from a problem pain point perspective, and try to craft a fun activity around that would draw them in. And so you promote this activity. You're going to make the event free, by the way, like it needs to be free so people show up. And then you promote this activity, and you also promote the fact that you're going to be launching your brand. They're going to be the first ones to be able to see it and try things on. And so it's like this big, like really big party kind of thing. And so that's how you're going to get people in. You're going to find an activity that you think people would resonate with. And you want to make sure this activity is not going to cost you too much money, B, not take too long, because you don't want this thing to be like a 2-hour activity and then people have no energy or no time left to explore your brand. And then C, you also want to make sure like it's important, it would resonate, but it doesn't like outshine your launch, right? So as an example, for the prenatal yoga event, my client got the instructor to like wear her pieces, and then everyone else was able to like touch it and feel it, and it kind of like integrated, right? For my client that started the sustainable wedding brand company, she got the wedding planner to kind of talk about too, like finding dresses and how like my client was being so intentional about the dresses, and you can wear it a lot of different ways, to like the rehearsal dinner, to your bachelorette party, but also to like your wedding after party. Like there was just so many different use cases for it. So you want to think about how you can integrate the activity with your brand as well. And so that's kind of high level the strategy, but the execution is so important. So when it comes to execution, you always want to make sure you plan as far in advance as possible, because you're essentially planning an event. So you need like a venue. You need to figure out like who's going to be doing your activity and like what that's going to look like. You need to figure out catering. I would always recommend having some sort of like food and beverage. Like it doesn't need to be a full sit down dinner, but maybe just like finger food, maybe some non-alcoholic beverages, whatever's in your budget, but you need time to plan that, right? So I always say like plan at least 4 months out from your launch to really ensure you have enough time. And if you want a list of like everything you need to do to prepare for your launch, but not only your launch, but like making sure your product's good, making sure the marketing's on point, making sure like the website's good, like all that stuff and everything it takes to start a brand from scratch, then check out our Build Your Brand Blueprint. I literally put it all in there. It's the A to Z. All you need to do is just input your launch date, and then everything auto-populates. You know the exact order you need to do everything in, you know when you need to do everything in based on your launch date, and you can just like tick it off. And also in the blueprint too, for every single section, I have resources I've done, such as like YouTube videos, podcast episodes, masterclasses, PDFs, so that you have my strategy as well. So you can literally follow this blueprint and you'll be golden. And if you want to snag it, you can go to recloseted.com/blueprint and use code LAUNCH at checkout, because we launched it this month, and for this month only you'll get $20 off, so that you can snag it for only $28, which is such a steal. So this month only, use code LAUNCH at checkout at recloseted.com/blueprint. Link will be in the show notes for you as well. But you do need to take inventory of everything you need to do. You want to make sure nothing falls through the cracks, because your brand deserves a flawless launch. So when it comes to the execution of the launch event, this is so important, like I mentioned. We want to make sure your brand shines and you have an opportunity to sell. That is key. And so what I like to do with my clients is suggest the following order of events. First of all, when people come to your launch, you want to be there mingling, like talking to people. And so just assume people are going to be like showing up late. So I would actually start the event maybe like 15 minutes or 20 minutes after the invite. So if you tell people to be there at like 5, you can start at 5:15 or 5:20. And so what you need to do first is just like welcome everyone, introduce yourself, talk about your brand, talk about why you started this brand, talk about who it's for, the problems, the pain points you're solving. I have this exact script I pretty much give all our clients to make sure that they follow it so that they can sell and pull at people's heartstrings. But you got to do your intro pre-ramble, and then I want you to unveil your products, like make it a grand thing. You can either have like models walk in, maybe be wearing a jacket, and you like take off your jacket and you're like, surprise, this is my pieces. But you need to do like a grand reveal and then explain why you made these products, right? Like what problem are you solving? What are the benefits? What are the features? And then you talk about it. And then after that, you can say, hey, we're selling them today. This is the price point. You can touch them, you can try them on, you can feel them, and we're going to be able to open the cart like after the activity. So I wouldn't do the activity right away. I would do your preamble. I would like introduce your products before the activity, because there are chances that like people are just there for the activity, and then once you do it, they'll leave and they'll bounce, and then you won't get an opportunity to sell to them. So it is important that you like do that sales pitch, you do the activity. People in the back of the mind are kind of like thinking about it, they're pondering it, and then once the activity is done, you like tell people, hey, now you can go try it on. And I also recommend my clients have some sort of like little thank you goodie bag, and so you tell people that's going to be given out like at the end of the night, so that people actually stay and they like try things on and they mingle. So yeah, that's kind of the execution. During the whole time too, you may want to have some volunteer helpers so that you're not the one like checking everyone out, running back and forth. Like you have people helping you, maybe with like the food, the catering, all that stuff, so that you can be present and you can really just focus on pitching, selling, meeting people, and also getting feedback too, right? You want to make sure people are giving you valuable feedback about your products, so you want to be there for that too. And so in summary, that's high-level launch events. They are such a good secret sales weapon. I cannot stress that enough. My clients always make like at least $5,000 per event, and if it's done properly, like you can make more, but it is really important that you plan it in advance, you make sure nothing falls through the cracks, and you're also so intentional about it. This is not just an event to celebrate your brand. Like, of course it is, but on top of that, like you need to sell as well. And if you don't sell, you're not going to make your launch goals. So it is really important to remember, like you're here to celebrate, but also to sell. So you need to practice your pitch, you need to like get out there, and I have no doubt that you're going to be successful. So yeah, so thank you to the person that left that comment on that YouTube video. I like realized I've never talked about launch events before, and it's such an important part of your launch. So I hope this was helpful for you. And if you have any more questions, leave them on this video, and I'm going to answer all the questions that I got next week. And there's a lot of good questions, so I'm excited for that.